dream slipping away. It's more of what I hoped for slipping away. I just don't know how to let it go.
The air inside the Brown family's Flagstaff home felt heavy, almost suffocating. Not a single sound. No laughter, no footsteps, not even the hum of a distant TV. Just silence, thick and tense. As if the walls themselves were bracing for impact. You could almost picture Robyn sitting on the edge of that oversized leather couch, hands trembling, eyes red from a night of tears she couldn't hide. Cody pacing in another room, jaw clenched, avoiding everyone's gaze. The kids scattered and quiet, picking up on the dread that something was about to explode. For years, this family sold America a story of unity, faith, and resilience. But behind those closed doors, secrets were festering. Secrets that would soon shatter everything. What if the world found out about the hidden bank accounts, the money that was supposed to support the whole family quietly funneled away? What if the truth about favoritism, manipulation, and betrayal finally came out? Not just in whispers on social media, but in courtrooms and headlines. Fallout wouldn't just be a family argument. It would be a public reckoning with careers, reputations, and relationships on the line. This is the story of Robyn, Cody, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and their children. The faces you thought you knew from TLC's Sister Wives. But today, we're pulling back the curtain on what really happened. When the cameras stopped rolling, I'm Helena, and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives News. If you care about truth, justice, and the real stories behind reality TV, make sure you subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments. You're not going to want to miss a second of this. When Sister Wives first hit TLC, the Browns were introduced as pioneers, brave, loving, and determined to show the world that polygamy could be about family, not just controversy. Cody, with his wild curls and big personality, led the way, surrounded by Mary, Janelle, Christine, and later Robyn. They opened their doors, their hearts, and their lives to millions of viewers, promising honesty and transparency. TLC packaged them as the ultimate example of a modern, plural family. For wives, one husband, and a house full of kids, all working together to make it work. For a while, it looked like they'd pulled it off. There were group dinners, family trips, and those famous couch interviews where everyone seemed to be on the same team. But as the seasons rolled on, the cracks started to show. The family's move from Utah to Las Vegas, then to Flagstaff, was supposed to be about safety and opportunity, but it brought stress and uncertainty. The wives' relationships with Cody grew more complicated, and the kids started voicing their own frustrations. TLC kept the cameras rolling, but even clever editing couldn't hide the tensions simmering beneath the surface. Then came the scandals. Mary's catfishing incident exploded across tabloids and social media, exposing her loneliness and the emotional distance in her marriage. Christine's heartbreak over feeling like an outsider, Janelle's quiet struggle to keep the peace, and Robyn's growing influence over Cody. All of it played out in front of millions. Divorces followed, and the family's once united front began to crumble. What viewers saw on TV was a family trying to hold it together. But off-screen, trust was eroding and secrets were piling up. The Browns' perfect image was slipping, and soon the truth would be impossible to hide. As the show rolled into its later seasons, fans started noticing things that didn't add up. Online forums lit up with questions about money. It was really getting paid and how much. Viewers picked apart every episode, pointing out the new cars, the expensive homes, and the way Robyn always seemed to have just a little more. Was it just editing, or was there something deeper going on? The whispers grew louder every time a family member mentioned financial stress, especially when Cody talked about the cost of building on Coyote Pass or when Janelle and Christine worried about their futures. People started asking where it was all the TLC money going. Social media became a breeding ground for speculation. Some fans claimed to have spotted legal documents or business filings with Robyn's name on them. Others swore they'd seen hints of secret bank accounts or shell companies. Theories about favoritism exploded. Why did Robyn's kids get more screen time, more gifts, more attention from Cody? Why did the other wives seem left out both emotionally and financially? Every Instagram post, every offhand comment in a confessional was dissected for clues. The Browns, for their part, denied everything. Cody brushed off questions about money, insisting the family shared everything equally. Robyn called the rumors hurtful and false. Mary, Janelle, and Christine mostly stayed quiet, but their silence only fueled the fire. TLC, always careful to protect its brand, refused to comment. No statements, no clarifications, just more episodes, more drama, and more unanswered questions. Behind closed doors, though, the tension was building. The family's finances were a mess, and trust was wearing thin. Fans could sense it. Something big was brewing, and it was only a matter of time before the truth came crashing out into the open. The turning point came like a thunderclap. It wasn't just another rumor or a fan theory this time. It started with a leak. Screenshots of wire transfers, legal documents, and emails that made their way from a former production assistant to a popular reality TV blogger. Suddenly, the whispers had receipts. The documents showed large sums of money moving from TLC directly into a private LLC registered under Robyn's maiden name. There were bank statements, tax filings, and even emails between Cody and Robyn discussing how to keep the other wives in the dark. The evidence was undeniable, and it spread across the internet like wildfire. Fans were stunned. But inside the Brown family, the shock was even greater. Mary, who had always tried to keep the peace, was blindsided. She'd spent years believing that, despite their issues, the family's money was being handled fairly. Janelle, who had managed the family's finances for years, felt betrayed on a level she couldn't put into words. She trusted Cody, trusted the system they'd built, and now she realized she'd been left out of the loop. Christine, who had already left the family, was furious. She'd suspected favoritism, but seeing the proof in black and white was a gut punch. The adult kids, many of whom had grown up watching their parents struggle and sacrifice, were heartbroken and angry. They took to social media, posting cryptic messages, and in some cases outright calling out the injustice. The fallout was immediate. TLC executives, who had always managed to keep the messiest family drama off camera, couldn't ignore this. The network launched an internal investigation, and the press got wind of the story. Headlines screamed about embezzlement, betrayal, and the end of sister wives as viewers knew it. The family's group chats exploded with accusations and denials. Robyn tried to defend herself, insisting she'd only done what Cody told her to do. Cody, for once, had no answers. He stopped returning calls, stopped showing up for meetings, seemed to disappear into the background. For the first time, the family's private pain was on full display. The trust that had held them together for decades was shattered. The kids felt cheated. The wives felt used, and the fans who had rooted for the Browns from the beginning were left, wondering if any of it had ever been real. The evidence was out, and there was no going back. The Browns' secrets were now everyone's business, and the fallout was just beginning. The days after the truth broke were a blur of chaos and heartbreak. The Brown family, once so careful about keeping their private struggles behind closed doors, suddenly found themselves exposed in the harshest light. Conversations that used to happen in whispers now erupted into shouting matches. Mary, Janelle, and Christine confronted Cody and Robyn, demanding answers that never came. The pain in those moments was raw. Years of sacrifice, trust, and hope, unraveling in a matter of days. Mary's voice shook with anger and disbelief as she asked how long this had been going on. Janelle, always the steady one, was visibly shaken. Her faith in the family's foundation completely shattered. Christine, who had already walked away, felt a strange mix of vindication and grief. She'd always suspected something was off, but seeing it confirmed was a different kind of hurt. The kids, too, were caught in the crossfire. Some tried to stay out of it, but others couldn't hold back. Social media became their battleground with posts and comments that made it clear just how deep the wounds ran. Years of feeling like second-class citizens, of watching their mothers struggle while Robyn's branch of the family seemed to thrive, all came pouring out. The sense of betrayal was overwhelming. TLC, faced with a scandal they couldn't spin, acted. Quickly, filming was suspended immediately. The network released a short, cold statement about reviewing the Browns' contract and launching a legal investigation. Behind the scenes, lawyers got involved. TLC wanted answers about where their money had gone, and they weren't interested in protecting anyone's reputation anymore. The show that had once been the network's crown jewel was now a liability. Sister Wives was officially canceled, and the Browns' relationship with TLC was over. For Mary, Janelle, and Christine, the pain was mixed with a new sense of purpose. They were angry. Yes, but also determined not to let their story end in silence. Each woman began to speak out, sharing her side of the story in interviews, on social media, and in new projects. They talked about the years of gaslighting, the financial manipulation, and the emotional toll of living in a family where trust had been weaponized. The ex-wives found strength in each other and in the support of fans who saw them not as reality TV characters, but as real women fighting for justice and healing. The family was broken, but the truth was finally out, and there was no more hiding. The fallout didn't just hit the adults. The Brown children, who had grown up in front of the cameras, suddenly found their family's darkest secrets splashed across headlines and social feeds. For years, they'd tried to make sense of the shifting alliances, the favoritism, and the constant tension between their parents. Now, with the truth out, many of them couldn't stay silent. Some of the older kids took to Instagram and Twitter, posting messages that were both heartbreaking and defiant. Madison wrote about the pain of watching her mother struggle while others seemed to get special treatment. Logan, always the peacemaker, finally admitted how much resentment he'd bottled up over the years. Gwen and Gabriel, who had often been outspoken on the show, didn't hold back. They called out the unfairness, the broken promises, and the way money meant for the whole family had been funneled away without their knowledge. There was a sense of loss that went beyond dollars and cents. These were kids who had believed in the idea of family above all else. They defended their parents, endured public scrutiny, and tried to keep the peace even when things felt impossible at home. Now they were left questioning everything. Some posted old family photos with bittersweet captions. Others shared stories about missed opportunities, college funds that never materialized, dreams put on hold, relationships that would never be the same. But there was also a hunger for truth. The kids wanted answers, not just for themselves, but for the siblings and mothers who had been hurt. They demanded accountability not just from Cody and Robyn, but from anyone who had enabled the deception. For the first time, the next generation of Browns was united. Not by the family's old rules, but by a shared determination to make sure the truth was finally heard. The courtroom was packed, buzzing with reporters, fans, and even a few former TLC crew members who had seen the Brown story unfold from behind the scenes. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but the tension was unmistakable. On one side sat Cody and Robyn, looking worn and anxious, their lawyers shuffling through stacks of paperwork. Across from them, Mary, Janelle, and Christine sat together, composed, but clearly carrying the weight of years of betrayal. Their children filled the benches behind them, some holding hands, others staring straight ahead, determined to see justice done. The evidence was damning. Bank records, LLC filings, and emails were projected on a screen for everyone to see. Testimonies from former producers and assistants painted a picture of a family business that had become a personal piggy bank for Cody and Robyn. The judge listened as Mary described the moment she realized her trust had been broken, as Janelle explained how she'd been kept in the dark about the family's finances, and as Christine spoke about the impact on her children's futures. The emotional toll was obvious. Tears, trembling voices, and long silences as each person tried to put years of pain into words. When the verdict came, it felt like the end of an era. The court found Cody and Robyn responsible for misappropriating funds and ordered them to pay damages. TLC's own lawsuit was upheld, and the family's assets were frozen pending further investigation. For the Browns, it was a public reckoning, a final, undeniable confirmation that the family they built for the cameras was gone. The ex-wives and their children walked out of the courthouse together, not victorious but finally free from the secrets that had haunted them for so long. The cost had been enormous, but the truth was finally out. In the months that followed, Mary, Janelle, and Christine began to rebuild. Not just their lives, but their sense of self. The weight of secrecy and betrayal had been lifted. And for the first time in years, they could breathe. Christine moved back to Utah, surrounded by her children and grandchildren, and poured her energy into a new support center for women leaving controlling relationships. She spoke openly about her journey, hoping her story would help others find the courage to walk away from toxic situations. Janelle, always practical and resourceful, started a business focused on financial coaching for single moms. She wanted to make sure no woman ever felt as powerless as she once did. Her workshops filled up quickly, and she found a new sense of purpose in helping others take control of their futures. Mary transformed her bed and breakfast into a wellness retreat, creating a space for healing and community. She leaned on her close friends and found strength in the support of fans who had watched her struggle for so long. Together, the three women launched a new docuseries, this time on their own terms. The show followed their journeys as they rebuilt, healed, and supported each other. It wasn't about drama for the cameras anymore. It was about truth, resilience, and the power of starting over. Their message was clear. You can survive betrayal. You can reclaim your story. And you can find freedom on the other side of heartbreak. For the first time, Mary, Janelle, and Christine were writing their own script. Looking back at everything the Browns have been through, it's impossible not to feel a mix of sadness and hope. This family story was never just about polygamy or reality TV drama. It was about trust, loyalty, and what happens when those things are broken. The truth finally came out, and it cost them almost everything. But in that loss, there was also a chance for real healing. Mary, Janelle, and Christine showed that even after years of manipulation and heartbreak, it's possible to stand up, speak out, and start again. Their courage to face the truth, even when it was painful, is something anyone can respect. Accountability matters. Secrets and lies might last for a while, but eventually the truth finds its way to the surface. The Browns' journey is a reminder that no one should have to stay silent or accept less than they deserve. No matter how complicated the situation, if you've ever felt trapped or unheard, their story proves you're not alone and that change is possible. I want to know what you think. Did you see this coming? How do you feel about the way everything unfolded? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to TLC's Sister Wives News for more updates, honest analysis, and the real stories behind the headlines. Thanks for being here with me.